Finding empowerment, embracing layers, yeah. We get to.
Hello, Melissa Crook here. Welcome back to the Field Podcast today. You've heard me talk a lot about in the first 2 months of this year, 2026, the resources that I have available for you via my Field framework on the Embracing Layers Network. I have broken them down and shared with you the insights and how they can support you and the women in your life. But what I realized as I was going through this and having a conversation with another friend of mine here in the podcast industry who also has her own business as a woman, that in order to invest in ourselves, we have to realize as women that it's no longer acceptable for us to just accept the scraps of what's left over after we've given our resources to everybody else. And that starts with me. And I've been really kind of more vocal the last couple of months, especially this last few weeks, about the fact that women being paid what they're worth and their work being honored and recognized as something that's worth paying for starts with us as women, not asking each other to continually show up for free. But really, just like in the Field framework, when we're doing work on ourselves and it starts with knowing our own value, that also is true when it comes to us not settling for the scraps or the leftovers and being willing to set aside something of value for us first. So when I started all of this, it did start as a passion project. And it wasn't until about a year and a half to 2 years in that I started offering opportunities for people to support our work through sponsorships, through our book, through our radio show, those kinds of ways. But what I realized about a year and a half ago is that I had this whole list of resources on my link tree that I was offering up for free. And it really got my attention. And my husband kept bringing that up to me. And he kept saying, no one that I know in my world of male friends would ever have all these resources for free. And no one would ask them to. There's a real issue with women being afraid to ask to be paid for their work. That just sets the trajectory of what it is people think you will do for them. And so when this friend actually specifically, I was at a networking event here where I live, and a woman that I'd met through this event came up to my husband and I and made this comment about, oh my gosh, the incredible resources that you have for free. And my intention was that I wanted to make sure women, no matter what level they were at, had access to things. But what I realized is that turned into being almost everything. And so what's never going to change on this platform, and they tell you to never say never, but I feel confidently about this, that the podcasts that we record that are available on our website are always going to be available to you for free to go listen to get insights from, to go to our website and choose which resources apply. But the podcasts themselves always going to be that way. But there's a lot of other work that I've created that I set that expectation that it was all going to be free early on. And as I tried to switch, I realized people weren't used to me showing up that way. And millions of women do this around the world to ourselves every day. And so what I'm going to talk about today is when you are planning out your calendar each year, when you are planning out your budget, I will tell you that for the first 50 years of my life, I would plan out our budget and I would make sure my daughters had all the resources they needed for their things. My husband had all the resources he needed. My in-laws, whoever it was that I was giving to. And then if there was anything left over for me, then I would invest in that, whether it was a women's conference. Usually I will tell you, because I waited till I was last, there were many things I said no to because I didn't have the money or the resources or the time, because I neglected to first put myself in my calendar look at the list of activities that nourish me and make sure I plugged those in first and that there wasn't scraps that I was pulling from the worthy amount of full resources to invest in me, which then allows me to show up more healthy, more present, more engaged, and the kind of version of myself that I want my loved ones and coworkers and neighbors to experience of me. But that doesn't magically happen. It requires an investment. It requires putting yourself first in your calendar on the broader sense, not just, and starting with investing in yourself. So it starts with me, and I've been doing that the last 5 years. But what I've missed is that that's also true when I'm creating work and creating resources. I pay my team, but I don't pay myself. And so I'm telling women to do this, but yet I'm not even doing it for me. And so stepping back and realizing I have to start with me and sending the message and inviting other women to do the same. We deserve more than the scraps. We deserve to invest in us. And that starts with us not being afraid to ask for what we're worth, not being afraid. So instead of me putting the hundreds of thousands of dollars into, let's go back 10, 15 years ago when my kids were at home and involved. My husband and I put everything there first. And instead of going into our calendars and saying, okay, what do we need to show up well this year, to show up healthy, to show up consistently, rested, resourced, so that we then can show up well? I will guarantee you that if I had taken the time to do that first, there would still have been plenty left over for the rest. And I would have not shown up feeling tattered and irritable and worn out, because I would not have only made the time for that physical and emotional and mental, work and time that I put into myself every day, but I would have made room for that retreat that was really going to refresh me, that book club that was really going to connect me with other women. I would have bought that book first. I would have scheduled that retreat first. And then like, okay, from there, how do we plan to hit the rest of this? And how much less of a martyr I would have shown up as. So I'm encouraging you all now to think about that. When you're doing your work, don't undersell yourself. When you're investing in yourself, don't put yourself last and only save the scraps for you. That's not selfish. That is self-preservation. That is setting an example to those around you of what you will and won't accept as being honorable to you. And that includes sometimes time, sometimes energy, and sometimes money, and in saving a little for you each time. And if you do that in a way that where you're planning it out and you're not, because if you wait till it's just like putting your exercise or your quiet time in your calendar. If it doesn't get in your calendar, it's going to be the first thing to go. It's not going to be seen as a priority. We put the things in our calendar that are priority. And that includes a little bit of resources, money wise, for you to invest in you, whatever that looks like, whether it's the yoga class, the gym membership, the book club that I mentioned, that yearly retreat, that online course, that your therapy, whatever it is, it goes first so you can show up healthy and well for you. And so that's why I titled today's episode, No More Accepting the Scraps. It's time to choose you. And that starts with me. And you're going to, like I said, this is going to be an ongoing theme as I learn to do this, as I adopt this into my own life. And I invite you all into it as well. So it's not too late. We're early in 2026, or whatever time you choose to listen to this in your life. Wherever you are, go look at that calendar and see and put in something for you. And notice how it feels to invest in you. And yes, because of all the narratives we've heard as women, it might feel a little selfish at first. But if you think about how you feel when you get home from that, taking that time to refill, the patience, the renewal, the rest, the presence, the mindfulness that is present rather than being tired and worn out and strung out because you didn't leave anything for you except for the scraps or less than the scraps. So that is something that I really want us to take into the rest of this week, this month, this year, as we seriously consider moving forward into no more accepting the scraps. It's time to choose you. If you want some more support, go to embracinglayers.com. Let's schedule a third, go to our contact form. Let's schedule a 30-minute empowerment session and just talk through it. Talk through what that looks like for you and how we can support you in that. I know I'm going to be much more mindful of making sure I'm doing this for me. So my messaging isn't just sent out to you. You see it embodied and modeled with it in me as well. We're all learning and growing together. Stay curious, not judgmental. This is a marathon. It's not a sprint, and it's just another opportunity to grow. So take good care of yourselves this week. No more accepting the scraps. It's time to choose you. You are valuable, you are worthy, and you get to choose. Take good care of yourselves, and I'll see you here next time on the Feel Podcast.